her question is, with AI or artificial intelligence coming into the picture now, the equation, is it still as important for children to be top performers or to acquire uni education and so on? And is there anything that would ensure some kind of success in the material world for children, for our youth who are coming up into the world and getting familiar with everything that's going on? That's okay. Now, I'll have to put on a different CD in my brain. I'll just switch the context here rapidly. I did touch upon it in Walk the Dragon webinar recently, but from a different perspective. First of all, what we have to understand is there is a great deal of uncertainty right now when it comes to AI, technology, and the world at large. And this level of uncertainty has never been seen before, ever. Not during World War I, not during World War II, not during the dot-com boom or bust, not during the financial crisis of 2008 and earlier, not during the tulips of 1950s in Europe and whatnot. This has never occurred before. We are truly at an inflection point in history where technology stands at a place where it is far more superior to human beings, and very autonomously they are able to conduct things and perform and do things where human intervention is not needed at all. So, first of all, we have to understand there is a great deal of uncertainty. We are still seeing the picture emerge on the canvas. We don't know yet what the full picture is going to look like. So any prediction, any assessment, any certainty of any kind may even be very short-lived, if not wrong altogether. Having said that, there are some broad patterns emerging that we can look into and based on which we can tap. We can understand where to head. First of all, about 2 or 3 years ago, I said that the era of specialists is here and the era of generalists is over. That you really have to be a specialist in your field, you really have to go deep. But that was before AI. Now, my opinion is exactly the opposite. The era of specialists is mostly over. Because it doesn't matter what deep specialization you have, AI in your field is already more specialized. It can dig answers deeper, it can explore a deeper base, broader base, and come up with solutions much faster than any specialist can ever even hope to or imagine. So where does that leave us? First of all, there is great deal of uncertainty, but the point of uni education or school education is not necessarily that, okay, it'll help you get a job. We want that, but we also want a way of thinking. We want to develop analytical skills, qualitative skills, social skills, language skills, expression, and so on. And that's why kids or children or youth go to universities and schools and colleges. There is no doubt that, I take back my words, there is plenty of doubt, but still I think the broad consent is uni education is becoming increasingly less and less relevant. Whatever you learn in a uni, there is no more any direct application of it in the world because now there are tools available that already harness that part of the knowledge or education. But there is still no match for human emotion and human understanding in many ways and asking the right questions. But that is the scene today. It may not be the case in just a few years from now. So we are actually humanity as a whole is really threatened, because it's not that AI is going to replace all the white collar jobs. Earlier, if you were running a law firm and you need 10 paralegal to do your research, today you don't need even one. Earlier, if you would engage a consultant in McKinsey or one of the other top four, and you say, I need to prepare this report on research, and they'll say, this is $500,000, you say, budget approved. Today, you don't need even one consultant. AI will generate a deep research report in less than 10 minutes, which a consultant would normally put together in 3 to 6 months' time. Earlier, to build software, when you would need 15 or 20 developers, now you only need one mediocre developer who can just hopefully speak even broken English. You don't even need perfect English anymore. AI will bypass all that, will get to the meaning of it and develop software for you. Those days, the way I see it, there was a time when coding came into picture. If you look at COBOL or Pascal or other previous languages, earlier languages, machine languages, where you would actually code right at the machine level. But then came other languages like C and so on, which had a syntax of a certain kind, which sort of resembled normal human language. Somewhat. There was a syntax in place. And then there is the object-oriented languages, C++ and so on, and Java and whatnot, that came into the picture, where now you wouldn't need to worry about, oh, I am coding this for Windows, I'm coding this for Linux, for Unix, and for Mac, or for other operating systems. You would just code and compile and it would run anywhere. Now we are at a stage where you don't even need to code, where you just have to say what you want and it'll code for you. So India as a country, when we were thinking, we were very safe because we were exporting technology and we're producing engineers, all of that is going to become redundant in this very lifetime very rapidly, probably in the next 5 to 7 years, if not even sooner. So the threat is not that those white collar jobs are going. The threat is even more. If all these people become unemployed, will they have the money to buy coffee? Will they have the money to go and dine out? Will they buy clothes just abundantly? So their consumption is going to decrease drastically because they simply wouldn't have the resources. Now, if they won't have the resources to buy those things in the market, then who are these people who are not in white collar jobs actually going to sell to? The cafe owners, the restaurant owners, the shopkeepers, all the other service providers. If there is nobody that's going to be required to go to work, who will the transporter carry from one place to the other? So that is actually leading to a very horrific scenario where a great number of people will be unemployed. And you look at history, when people are unemployed, there is almost always a civil war. There'll be no employment. People will fight against each other. Have you ever wondered why we have the largest gathering of everything in India? People have too much time at their hands. There's a political rally, 200,000 people are showing up. There is some other rally, 1 million people are showing up. So India as a country, we are so far behind that every day it worries me, believe it or not. We are so far behind that we should hang our heads low in shame, in utter shame, if not disgust. If you look at NVIDIA, for example, that's producing the GPUs for AI, because AI requires specific kinds of calculation done all ultra rapidly on a certain infrastructure, one error and the whole thing falls apart and to start all over again. That's why normal computers cannot build a peer-to-peer network and do that calculation or run that compute. So India stands nowhere in placing orders for those GPUs. Imagine. NVIDIA recently reached out to world governments and organizations saying, okay, we are rationing, we have to produce, and in that manufacturing, there's only so much we can manufacture. What would you like? We have no significant order for that AI infrastructure that we need to run AI. We have no models of our own. And we have no physical infrastructure, serious infrastructure that can actually make a difference. So what's going to happen is all these AI companies, they will have the greatest concentration of wealth. And countries that have not built their AI infrastructure, and India is one of them, don't stand a chance, will be at the mercy of these companies and these countries. These countries will be able to earn based on their infrastructure and provide universal basic income or universal basic wealth to each one of their citizens because they have the wealth. Work almost is going to be optional. If we really think through, there was this famous philosopher and scientist, he said something amazing. He said politicians and everybody should read science fiction because everything that was written in science fiction is coming true. Those guys are thinking already what may happen in 50 years from now. And with unlimited energy, we can solve all of the world's material problems. We can create as much produce as we want. And with robotics, where China is far ahead of everybody else in the world, even far ahead of the US, tell me, where are we going with this country and with our education system? Look at how broken our education system is. And I speak from experience. When I would hire people, sometimes they would have master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, but they don't have a clue. And I really scratched my head. That's how I lost half my hair. I said, hang on a minute. You've spent 5 years in a university, 5 years, Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, 250 days in a year, learning something, and you don't even know the basics. What went wrong? What were you doing? Who gave you a passing mark? Who let you out? Think about it. And we are living with it. And then kids and youth and parents are thinking, oh, my daughter's got an engineering degree, my son's got a medical degree, and so on. Where do I'm sure they'll get a job. And then everything is done for the sake of it. Somebody dies, the government says, oh, we'll give you 2 lakhs. Wow, this guy's ultra rich now. It's a joke. But we are putting up with this joke. We need a silent, we need a constant revolution, but the system, I really don't have the answer to it, actually. It's very bad. But broadly speaking, AI is appending everything. One should develop deep passion. If you're passionate about what you do, even if you're earning a bit less than what you thought you would one day, at least you would be happy and you would pull through this life. A storm is coming, and India is not prepared at all. At all. We don't even understand the gravity, the depth of that storm. With the robotics China is building, they won't even send their soldiers to fight on the ground. They will just build an army of millions and millions of robots and just leave them, who would kill with ultra precision. And we are not prepared at all. We are infighting. We are fighting within, amongst ourselves, and that is going to be the greatest cause of our downfall, as it was before independence, as it was before the advent of the Portuguese and the Mongols, as it was, before the advent of East India Company and the rest. This too fragmented and too short-sighted. It's I feel bad for all the kids, very bright kids, very amazing youth of this country who have inherited a country in such a poor condition. So I hope some right people somewhere will make the noise and do something about it. But I feel bad for our youth because they stand at great disadvantage compared to some of the other nations out there. So they should develop deep passion, be more generalist, know a little bit of multiple areas, and then go from there. I hope I answered your question.